Oh, 9. Okay. Hey there guys, my name is Nesh, and after being an au pair for almost 3 years in 2 different countries and multiple states, I want to share with you today the real tea about this crazy au pair world. Today I want to talk specifically about the USA while doing my night skin routine and share the main things you need to know if you want to do this experience or you just want to know about it. So stay tuned and watch till the end for the main recommendations. Let's get started. So, the main question might be why I became an au pair. Well, because I really want to leave my country and I want to go to somewhere else. The main plan was to do it in Germany. In that moment, I did it in 2019 before COVID. It was much easier to do it in the USA. I got in contact with one of the agencies in Peru and they helped me out with all the process. It was actually pretty easy, the step that I need to take in order to be an au pair. Mainly, I needed to have the English because that's the language of the country. Nowadays, you can do it anywhere in the world. So just make sure that you have the language part done. So it's like super much faster your process. What took me the longest time was the driving license because I didn't have one at the time. And I needed to go through the whole process of learning how to drive a car and then test and then get my license because it's necessary for you to have your driving license. Plus, you will need it to live your life because the US is a place mainly for cars and drivers. So that will be actually very good for you. I also needed to have childcare experience because that was very, very important. So I asked for it to the people that I have worked with before, that mainly were my neighbors, some aunts, and make sure that these people do not have your last names because that's not allowed. It has to be people that is outside your family. I filled out everything, and then once my application was ready, I sent it to the agency because they work directly with Au Pair in America. And once they review it, they approve my profile and they start sending families to my profile. There is actually multiple things you need to take into consideration when you choose a family. Not because you get a family, it means that you need to match with that family. You're gonna get multiple families that are looking for an au pair, so you have to be very careful who you choose because circumstances can change and people also change, and that's what happened with me and COVID. Fun fact, when I did the au pair experience, I did it in the whole COVID time, so my experience was really interesting. And all au pairs were so in demand. We were super in demand for all the partners. Everybody wanted an au pair. They started paying us more. And every time I did a rematch, I did 5 rematches in the USA. Every time I flight in first class. It was horrendous because I was sad, but I was flying in first class. So I really want to make sure that I will work with 1 kid or 2 kids maximum, and I will be in a good city and I will have the chance to talk with the au pair before me, so I didn't get a scam for any family, So it was very interesting how everything worked out because I accepted different interviews and they all were like super nice, but then when you start talking more with them, and then you can see somehow some red flags or green flags that you will want in your experience to have or not. There is of course a lot of people that can fake it, but you have to trust your gut because this part is very important. You're gonna live in their house, you're gonna work with them, you need to see how paranoid they are with the kids, if they are okay or not. Like all those little details that you might think that are not important are extremely important, and I am telling you because it's true. Especially in the US, the parents, not all of them, but most of them are pretty intense with the childcare that they have for their kids. For example, when some families talk to me about that they have cameras all over the house, I was like, bro, chill, like I don't want that. Like, I don't want to be observed every time. It's like crazy. I understand that it's for a safety reason, but I don't want to feel observed for everywhere. It's like, for me, it doesn't work. If it works for you, go ahead. But for me, those kind of things I didn't like. Also, the families that are telling you like, you need to cook, you need to clean, you need to take care of my kid. If it happens something, it's your fault. It's like, bro, chill. Like, I'm here to work with your kid and for your kid. Most people said that babies are easy, but for me, I didn't want that responsibility because they can be pretty harsh to work if they are not sleeping or chilling in a place specifically, and then you need to cook for them. That would be like, extremely stressful for me at least. So I would say the best ages for me at the moment were from 6 to 10 or 12. Because between 10 and 12 they are becoming teenagers and they are getting a little bit stressed and anxious and angry. And at 6 years old, even 3 to 6 also, They already walk, they are already puppy trained, they can communicate, they can really make a connection with you, you know. Because the babies, they maybe cannot talk, something happens. Like, I think that it depends on you totally, but it's a huge responsibility to take care of a baby, okay? It's very big. And also from a toddler, when they are from 1 year to 3 years, they are extremely fast and just wanna do everything. So make sure that you have energy and like 4 eyes to like see everywhere when you're working with the kid. Because most parents won't be home, and if they are at the home, it's also like stressful. I feel like I am the best person to tell you about this because, as I said before, I had 5 rematches and I go through all the families you can think of. Well, after analyzing all these situations, I decided to match with a family in Chicago. And Chicago is a place that I didn't thought living in. But when I met this family, it was great. It was just a single mother with a kid. The kid was 9 years old. I make sure I talked with her au pair, and her au pair was just super kind. She explained me everything. It looked like an amazing relationship between all of them, and everybody was happy. The kid was a little bit dramatic. I love her so much. Now she's a teenager, but she was the only kid too. The Italian au pair told me she was very fine, and the mom was super supportive and everything. So I was like convinced, to be honest, and they were also very good located in Chicago, and that's something that is very important as well. It will be very easy for me to just transport around there. So I decided to match with them in December of 2019, and then I could start with the visa application because you need to have a family already and all your documentation. So I am not from Lima, which is the capital of my country, and the embassy of the US is there. So I need to fly to Lima to make this appointment happen. I was actually stressed because I felt like this was a whole thing that I need to make work, you know. I was thinking I need to get the visa, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, before I have traveled and everything was fine, and I did the work and travel experience, so it was very fine. And I was thinking, I'm gonna get the visa, everything is okay, like chill. They are gaining a great person and a great human in their amazing country. So I came in there super easy. The agent was actually really kind. She asked me some questions that, to be honest, I cannot recall right now. What are you gonna do there? Why are you going? How's the family? Where are you gonna live? This is the main questions I was asked about. And once I answered everything, even though I was nervous, I got the visa. And I was like, oh my God, like this is really happening. I couldn't believe it. And it was January. And the greatest part is that at least in the US, you don't pay for your plane tickets. I already invested a lot in paying for the program and also in paying for the flight tickets from my city to Lima and back and forth for all these processes. So that was a relief to know that I don't need to go through the airplane ticket thing because of course, if you buy it like later, then it costs much more. You know that, guys. And everything was great. We planned for me to be there on the end of February and the beginning of March. So I ended up traveling on the 28th of February because I needed to go to the training school. I needed to bring 1,000 for a month of living there. Also, my host mom at the time, she would pay me $200 per week and then an extra of $20 because she needs some help with her cat. So at the end, I was getting paid $220 per week. I'll check my calculator. $880 per month. The agency recommended me to bring around $1,000 or $800 just in case for the first month. So I arrived in February and there was already some news in the news talking about COVID, that it was a situation that was happening in China, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, oh, you know, something else in the world. I didn't thought it would be this huge, to be honest, guys. Like, I never expected anything. And my host mom was actually traveling to China the first week I was arriving. So I'm gonna have to stay with the other au pair, the Italian au pair, so she can train me and then she will leave in the following week when the host mom came back from China. But that didn't happen because my plane, guys, was the last plane of au pairs arriving in the USA. And my training was the last training done for the au pairs in 2020. Because think about this, I arrived the 28th of February and they closed everything because of this pandemic situation. And it was a little bit of a chaos. I remember that in my training school, 2 girls from Sweden they have to go back because I think that they had the virus. It was like, you guys know how it was. I wasn't understanding what was happening. So I was just enjoying my time, my first days in the training school. I met a lot of lovely girls from Brazil, from Colombia, from France, from Germany, from Australia, tons of them. They teach us CPR, other stuff, psychology. It was like 3 days of intense like training, but it was mainly classes for us to know what to do in any situation, and also to understand more the culture, because we have different cultures and we needed to adapt a little bit on the American ones as we are gonna live in there. And it was so funny because at some point we were just like introducing ourselves. So one of actually the Australian girls, they were asked, oh yeah, tell us who you are, blah, 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 you know, this kind of dynamics. And she was like, hey, my name is, for example, Brenda, and to be honest, I am lost. And we all laughed because we really felt lost. Like, it's like a whole experience that you just get into that, and you don't know what to expect. Even though like, the interviews have been good, you never know what to expect, to be honest, guys. They took us on a trip to New York because the training school is in Stamford, in Connecticut. Not close from there, so they took us on a trip there on a night. And I was very thankful with my husband because she paid for it so I can enjoy the place. And then when that finished, we all said goodbye, and I traveled to Chicago. And I was actually super happy and excited for this experience. I felt like I was gonna be fine and everything. I remember I arrived in Chicago and my host mom picked me up in a nice taxi. And once we were in the taxi, she started talking to me about COVID. And she was talking to me about this pandemic situation and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. And I really felt that she was very tense. And she was worried, like super worried. Once we arrived in the house, I was like, wow, I'm gonna start living in here for a year. This is gonna be crazy. And I remember the feeling that I had. It was a big house, like very Chicago style house. I was a little confused and cold because it was cold still. It was March. So I went to my bed and sleep, and then the next day I finally met the other au pair and the kid. The kid was... With the kid, we just make a nice connection. At the beginning, it was maybe a little bit hard, but we shared so many things. I tried as hard as I could to make her life easier while I was living there. So my whole life, I have been dealing with these dietary restrictions because I needed to be thin, you know? And she was going through the same thing because her mom wanted her to be skinny and all of this stuff. And I just could see myself reflect on her and how she was suffering, trying to adapt her body to society rules or that kind of thing. And I just saw me in her, basically. I made sure she knew that she was pretty, smart, and that her body was perfect the way it was at the moment. It's because I felt so identified with all of my kids, because I feel like this experience also help you heal your inner child somehow, and to see all these family dynamics that sometimes help you understand a lot of things from the parents' point of view and from the kids' points of view. Sending her all the best energy in the world. You know who you are. Anyways, it was everything fine the first 2 days, and then everything switched because the pandemic started, and the mom, her attitude changed drastically, and I feel like it's because she was like the leader of the house and the mom, and she was everything, you know. And the Italian au pair ended up staying 3 more months because she couldn't fly to her country because everything was closed. So it was like a whole dynamic, and we just have to get used to each other. I just couldn't see my host mom as what she told me she was, you know. And also I just couldn't see what the previous au pair told me about her. Basically, this previous au pair told me, the mom is so cool, she's super nice, she wants you to go outside to enjoy your life, she's always like down for anything, she's happy, she's fulfilled, like, you know. And the person that I met was just worried, stressed, kind of loving, tough, but very restrictive. So it was a lot to go through. I honestly think that my host mom tried her best to do what she could do to make us all feel safe, heard, and cared of. So I was trying to adapt very fast to all these restrictions, to all the situation, to everything. But it was hard. It was hard for me. I understood, and we were able to go outside and walk with my little baby. I mean, she was 9 years old, but you know. It was like a great experience until we have to move to another area because the mom decided that Chicago was not safe anymore. So we ended up going to Michigan State, specifically in Indianapolis. You have to take into consideration that these families are extremely rich. So they cannot have a chateau in Indianapolis. So we went there for some weeks after the Italian opera left, but I couldn't adapt because I have not privacy there. I have no room and I have to sleep in a nice bed but without walls because it was not part of the design of the house. So they cannot adapt something for me. And I was thankful, but at the same time I didn't feel privacy and I couldn't go out much because there was nothing to do outside. So we ended up going there for some weeks and then coming back and forth until a point that I talked with my LCC. The LCC is somebody that works for the agency and makes sure that the au pairs are fine and safe. So I told her, you know what, even though COVID is happening and everything, my contract says that I'm gonna be living in Chicago and I am not living in Chicago and I am not feeling comfortable with adapting myself. I remember I did some blogs about how was that place. Just like feeling so weird there. I make a great connection with my kid, but at the same time, I have no friends. I had like nothing. I was just working, I had my boss and the host kid. When I talked with my LCC about this, she talked with my host mom and told her, you know, she's not feeling comfortable there. She doesn't have a room and that's part of the rules. She's feeling more isolated there than in Chicago. So you need to find a way to stay in Chicago or leave her there or do a rematch or make a room for her or something else because she cannot be living in that condition. It's not part of the contract. It's part of her rights to have a room. So that's something that you should guys know. You have to speak up, okay? A lot of things, circumstances and situations are gonna happen, but you need to speak up for yourself because then nobody's gonna do it, okay? The host families, yeah, they are like your host parents, but they are not your host parents, they are your host boss, you know? So don't get to be fooled by that, please, please. My day-to-day as an au pair will be to wake up. The kid was doing homeschool, by the way, because it was COVID. So I just mainly have to make sure she wake up and she was like logging in the computer, but she was super smart. She didn't need me to check anything, but I have to make sure she was doing something and then make her some lunch and then we will go for a walk. That was pretty much what we were doing all the time. And I know that now it's different because kids are able to go outside and do all their activities, but in that time it wasn't. She also did gym virtually. So I have to make sure that she follows all her schedule and also that she was eating properly. But I try my best to don't make her feel restricted. The family was very kind with me in my birthday because the day of my birthday, the mom and the kid did like a healthy cake and I was able to, I don't know, wake up and see my cake there and they have like a gift for me and I was super thankful about it. Like I honestly was very thankful. I felt really appreciated and I don't know that I wasn't alone. Something else that I found very helpful because it was hard to make friends and stuff was going for ride bikes. A lot of ride bikes, a lot of walking, a lot of just like going and thinking. I don't know, I feel like also experience helps you to, you know, go through your mind and question things and understand maybe at a deeper level why you follow some beliefs, why you believe in that. A lot of things that you can really think when you are far from your family. Because even though families are the best thing and everything, well, for most people, when you live in that bubble, you cannot also think by yourself. And when you're far away from these people that are all constantly talking, telling you what to do, what to think, it's very great to see and to have this freedom, you know? After my birthday, things were going fine, but the mom wanted to go and stay the whole summer in Indianapolis in their chateau. And I didn't want to go. So I told her, yes, I don't want to go, blah, blah. And I get to stay in the house for around 3 months, just taking care of the cat. And sometimes in the weekends, they will come back, pick me up, and they will like let me sleep in a hotel that was around there. It was like a B&B, like breakfast and bed situation. It was really pretty. And I felt like that was a consequence of me speaking up to have a better, you know, situation living in that place that I didn't sign up for. But when they came back from this summer edition, I was used to go out a lot. Even though it was COVID, I used to go out for long walks, for meeting friends, but with the mask, and also for bike rides. a lot of them. When they come back, mom was very intense. Like whenever I go out, she was like, where are you? Are you wearing the mask? I don't feel comfortable, come back now, blah, blah, blah. And I understand where she was coming from, because one day she told me, if I die, my kid has no one to be with. And I understood that. But the thing is that I wasn't going to go crazy things. I wasn't going to parties and anything. I was just going for walks or for meet friends in the distance. Plus, she was also going out a lot, and the kid was allowed to bring her friends in the house, except me. So I didn't feel like that was fair, because that's the word. Yes, that's the word, fair. I didn't feel comfortable with the situation, and I told her, if you don't feel like this is working out, then let's do a rematch. And I was very happy to do so, because I knew that another au pair was leaving and I could take over her place in the same Chicago, because I really wanted to stay in Chicago. I love the city, okay? I love it. Anyways, the mom told me, no, I still want to work with you, blah, blah. 1 week after, she told me we need to talk. And we talked through things, and she ended up saying, you know what, maybe it's okay, we need to do a rematch. By that time, that family of my friend already found somebody. So I didn't have any option, and I have only 2 weeks to find a new family, because you have this like moment to do so. And the mom was like, if you're gonna stay here, you're gonna be completely locked down, except my kid, her friends can come, she can go too. And I was like, I don't wanna be locked down, you know? I feel like that situation really changed my host mom, because as I said, the previous au pair described a different person. So I did a little research, and I found some Airbnbs that I could go, so I can have my freedom and just like enjoy a house and go for walks and meet the friends that I made in the time being. So I ended up going to this Airbnb, and I pay for it. The mom paid me also the vacations, so I get 2 weeks that I got paid while I was looking for families. Thanks God I didn't get any COVID or any flu. Like, I was fine, I was like super healthy. I was so impressed by the beauty of the city that I was not feeling homesick, until in this moment of November that I moved to the Airbnb. I got a terrible news that my grandma passed away because of COVID, and that, like, guys, destroyed me. Like, that destroyed me so much. I was so sad. Once I knew it, I felt like so much pain for my family, because I wasn't there. We spent so much time together on 2019 because she fell, and I have to go with her to her therapist. And I was very thankful that I get to spend that time with her, but at the same time, I was so sad that I wasn't there. It was just like so bad. Like, I cried a lot, but I feel like she also gave me the strength to continue, because I needed to find a home, and it was like alone and on my own in Chicago. Because yeah, you have 2 weeks to do your rematch and find a family. The agency will help you because they need you to stay. You are cheaper than bring somebody else from the country and stuff. So I went through Facebook groups, and I also was checking into the agency website to find the best family for me. And I want something in Chicago, guys. Like, I wanted so bad. I wanted so bad, honestly. The other families were in the suburbs, so it was a little bit farther away, and they kind of want to match with me, but I got another family from California. Like a huge change. Chicago to California. We did a great match. I think I wasn't thinking much, to be honest, because I really wanna go, but I could see that this family was very loving. And in Chicago they were not loving, like physically, like and this family in California was very nice. They were from India. They were super happy, and they have nice food. And I don't know, the mom seems very genuinely happy and very into the well-being of her kids. I decided to go with them, and that's what California stage starts. And I know it has been a little bit of a long video, so stay tuned for the part 2, because there is so much to spill. That was my first match in the rematch situation, so it was a whole thing. I got to fly from Chicago to California in first class, but even though it was first class, I was so sad because I already made some friends in Chicago. I wanted to stay, and it just breaks my heart to just have to go there and fake that I was happy in this new family when I was going through grieving from my grandma and from all the friendships that I kind of lose, you know? I didn't lose them, but physically they won't be there. So it was very hard for me to just arrive in California and being happy because I need to work now with the kids, blah, blah, blah. And when they received me in California, it wasn't that pretty, to be honest, because they have made like a whole isolated room because of COVID, and I was traveling in the plane, and Ugh. But anyways, it is very long and it's getting darker, so I think I'm gonna continue with this in the part 2, when I'm gonna talk to you about all the rematches I have done in the US specifically, and how I was moving from one place to other, and how I get to experience all these places because of the rematches. Please leave me all the questions you have here so I can answer them in the part 2. Thank you for being here and for your kindness and for being understandable and letting me open up to you with the truth and all the dynamics that you go through when you do this experience, specifically now in the USA. See you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.